When I first saw the meme, I couldn't unsee it. I agreed. Her lips did look like a mustache in the still image, but I was thinking I watched the show and I never really thought of that. So I went back to look, and as you can see, it doesn't look like a mustache, in motion. It's a different story. The art direction clearly is aimed to keep her feminine features, but without overcomplicating things, like giving her a defined bottom lip. And that's the thing with drawing lips and mouths. They have a huge impact on how the face looks, especially when other facial features are kept simple. Just watch. When I start adding different lip shapes to her, her whole look changes. Big, curvy lips push her towards realism, or at least 1% less cartoony. But they also means more work for the animators. Meanwhile, her actual design, with just the top lip outlined and the bottom lip subtly implied, makes her lips look fuller and with minimal effort. And that's a key takeaway when drawing mouths and lips, sometimes. Implying features with simple lines and subtle details makes a drawing more appealing. You don't always need to spell everything out. One thing I'll keep saying when doing these tutorials and teaching a lot of things is one thing you'll learn and hear a lot is the viewer will fill in the gaps. You don't need to hold their hand 24/7. Right. When it comes to teaching, yes, but when it comes to a viewer seeing your work, like they're smart, they understand the basics of a lot of things. They're not going to need. They're not going to need you to draw that line through all the way. Like, you can make a gap, a separation, right? Make an implication because, like I said, the viewer will fill in the gaps. The lips are very easy. There's no need to complicate it. It's literally just a giant, like M, stretched out M, and a very stretched out W right underneath. There's no need to overdo it, over explain it. I think when you do that, it gets too complicated and too much detail, and there's no need for that. A shortcut is just drawing what you know, what you see with when it comes to lips. They do vary in a lot of shapes and sizes, and that alone is going to really, dictate how the face is going to look. Lips are all kinds of sizes, right? They're long, like wide, right? They're big, they're curvy, they're voluptuous. Some people don't have upper lips, right? They're very thin. Some have a bigger bottom lip. Some people don't even have the divot in the lip sometimes, right? Like, it's there, but so small, like you can't even see it. So, really experiment when you're drawing lips. Don't be afraid to draw all kinds. One of the best ways to get better at drawing the mouth and lips and everything else is practice. Seriously, the best way to improve at drawing lips and mouths, or anything really, is practice. A great way to start is just drawing over the image. If you need to trace it first, go for it. I do it sometimes when I was in the studying phase. I won't lie. I'm not the best at tracing sometimes, so I usually trace first and then try copying the tracing underneath to really get the shapes down. And I'm just used to that, right? But, pull up some faces or lip drawings you like and sketch over them. Get familiar with how lips actually look and how different facial expressions change their shape. Expressions completely dictate how the mouth and lips sit on the face. Personally, I tend to draw closed mouths all the time, but this year I'm really pushing myself to get better at drawing different mouth shapes, along with a ton of other stuff. I got one face syndrome, you could say, kind of. One thing you'll eventually start asking yourself is, how wide should the mouth be? Where do I stop? A general rule is that the mouth is about as wide as the distance between the pupils to the inner corners of the eye. To help visualize this, I've drawn a red line to show you the general area where the width of the mouth goes to. When drawing lips from a profile view, like sideways, this is where things get real. The side angle is pivotal because not only shapes the lips but also defines the entire facial structure. Like doing faces head on, a lot of that can be disguised or blends in, but when doing the profile you can see way more of the structure of the face. This is where you really want to start to see the unique character of a face. Different lip shapes, size, how much the mouth protrudes, the nose, right? Whether there's an overbite or underbite, and even how the chin aligns. I put up an image to give you an idea of what I mean. One key thing to notice is how the top lip connects to the face. It angles up towards the nose. I circled it here so you can see what I mean. The little connection point is super important for making the lips look natural and grounded in the face. Now, one really important thing I have to mention is don't draw every individual tooth when it comes to drawing like mouth and teeth. Just don't. It's almost never a good idea unless you're doing an isolated study. 95% of the time, it's best to imply the teeth instead of outlining each one. Depending on the style you're going for, drawing every single tooth can make the image look stiff or, unnatural. To show you what I mean, I took these images that originally had minimal teeth detail and added full outlines, right? Like I basically put the teeth in just by drawing, the lines, just to prove how it can actually make the drawing look less appealing. I should have probably picked better images to really emphasize it, but I hope you kind of get the point. In this segment, I want to break it down to where it's what not to do and what to do, right? In the end, majority of the video I show you what to do, and then in the end, I show you what not to do. There's a lot of things you don't want to do, a lot of bad teaching and bad tutorials. But here we go again, recurring theme, circles, random abstract shapes. This doesn't tell you anything, doesn't direct you in a good spot. These lips are going, perspective. Some of the lips are in perspective, and the circle doesn't mean anything, right? You got 3 great circles, and boom, really good drawing of some lips. Here we got some triangles, some random angles. This doesn't direct you in the right way. Lastly, I found some images, of people trying to draw the mouth or lips. Like this one right here, they have a lot of lines, curvatures of the lines. They're trying to instill the volume and the roundness of the lips, but they did better on the top, but the bottom it just is very disconnected. Next one, it's an evolution of the first one, right? More detail. They're using charcoal, so I'll give them a little bit benefit of the doubt, but same thing, lots of lines. I get it, you kind of see that in the micro details of the lips, but you don't need to do that. I get you're adding the curvature, like curving of the lip, that's a way to create volume, right? But you don't need to do all that. Here's the next evolution is someone who kind of got it. They get it, they see all those lines, but they knew how to navigate, right? They know how to shade for the most part. Clearly they know how to shade, highlight, volume, core shadow, all the standard basics, but they figured it out. I found some images as well where they show you the very quick 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. As you can see, they start with the creases of the mouth, which is pretty important, and then they draw the line through. I wouldn't suggest it entirely. And then they shade in the lips. They didn't draw in the lips. They shaded it to imply. And then the next one is the opposite. They drew in the lips, add the creases, and then filled it in a bit. Your top lip is always darker. Just remember that. It's always in shadow. So I added some photos or drawings of mine that I did back in the day of, lips, right? Women have lips, men have lips. We're drawing women, though, you're definitely going to add the lips. different. They're simple. It's easy. I got a little bit of that one face syndrome. I think, but that's there's some proof, I guess, right? Later in this YouTube journey, I'll be doing full on drawings, right? Speed paintings, and talking over it like all the other people do, right? But we'll get there. All right, like, subscribe. If you have a question or you're lost on anything, just leave me a comment. I'll be doing way more videos, way more tutorials. Thank you. Later.